The South African Air Force, the Civil Aviation Authority, and the Air Traffic Navigational Services have expressed deep concern over the incidence of airspace incursions and invasions by non-scheduled traffic in the Cape Town area. The Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association of South Africa has joined forces with CAA, South African Airways, and the South African Air Force to address this problem. One may well ask what the chances of a mid-air collision between two aircraft in the vast blue African skies really are. A cursory investigation of historical data will show only a few cases, leading some to question the seriousness of the problem. Is it really necessary to discuss and be concerned about the possibility of a mid-air incident over Cape Town? One serious mid-air collision in the world-famous air surrounding one of the new 7 wonders of the world will do more damage to general aviation and this country than can be imagined. There are reasons to believe that such an accident is imminent, but we can do something about. The time to do it is now, before it happens. If we fail to do it now, we will all regret it when it happens. Aviation accidents are irreversible in nature. Fatalities are often the result. The emotional and financial cost of these accidents are also out of all proportion. AOPA South Africa and other organizations are concerned about the level of complacency shown by some general aviation pilots. We want to urge all pilots to raise their compliance to air navigational regulations because it is the right thing to do. We ask that we comply with the law because we are proud of compliancy, not only because we are forced to comply. We also want to make our members and other pilots aware of the world that we all live in. A pilot should be aware of the three-dimensional attitude of his aircraft, all the systems of the aircraft, the maintenance of the aircraft, the fuel situation, the route, weather, weight and balance, and all the other technical details. But is more than that. We want to encourage pilots to be aware of their own mental and health status, the legal, corporate, physical, and even psychological, spiritual environment in which they operate. All these things can influence the way we fly, and we must optimize our environment and the way that we adapt to do it as much as we can. Aviation laws were written in the blood of aviators who paid the ultimate price. But the paper these laws were written on is called trust. Since the beginning of flying, pilots have enjoyed the privilege of being trusted by their peers and the regulator, the examiners, and the pilots themselves, sharing the same passion as their students. There are no police in the skies. Therefore, pilots have to be trusted to do the right thing. Passengers also fly with us because they trust us. It is not impossible to force pilots to comply with regulations without destroying aviation. Enforcement is very expensive, apart from being very unpractical. Unfortunately, it is clear that a few abuse this privileged position. They even think it is fashionable to defy authority and conventions. This is a modern trend and a sign of the times we live in. This will have the unwanted effect of the regulator stepping in and replacing trust with legal enforcement. AOPA wants to re-establish the values of honesty, trust, integrity, and truth in the aviation fraternity. We want to comply with the letter and the spirit of the law because it is the right thing to do. It is also the only way we can be sure that a mid-air collision will not occur over the skies of Cape Town or anywhere else. There is little else besides compliance that the IFR pilot can do to prevent mid-air collisions. The system protects IFR traffic from each other. It is different with VFR pilots. The old rule is to see and be seen, talk and listen. It is still true and the best way to avoid mid-air accidents. But to talk implies that one should be talking to the right people. In other words, on the right frequency. To do that, one has to know where one is. That is also called situational awareness. The real and most serious problem is when VFR and IFR traffic share the same airspace. The IFR pilot believes that the system protects him from all traffic. This is a dangerous complacency thought pattern. IFR pilots should be aware of the danger of VFR traffic. It is a legal requirement. All advanced human activities start with an idea. The human mind is powerful beyond belief. Golfers, businessmen, sportsmen, and artists know this. Countless books have been written about the subject. All these people know that anything they can imagine, they can do or have. Golfers play their shots in their mind before they do it on the golf course. Athletes race their races or jump their jumps in their minds before they really do it on the sports field. Artists see the result of their work before they complete it. Business people know the value of goal setting. Pilots must use the same techniques. One should see the entire flight long before it actually takes place. The success of scheduled flights can largely be attributed to the fact that not only one or two pilots have visualized their flight a day before the flight. In fact, hundreds of people have been intimately involved with the technical details of each and every scheduled flight, months and sometimes years in advance. That is the nature of scheduled flight. The general aviation environment is much more exciting and dangerous. Therefore, we should start every flight with a proper decision to fly, properly visualized and properly planned. Everybody knows that accidents happen because of improper planning, but in the majority of cases, the flights had not even been properly visualized initially. Flight planning is an art as well as a science. It is a simple fact of life that proper planning prevents accidents, including mid-air collisions. Unfortunately, technology has created the illusion that planning can be circumvented. Many electronic instruments have been sold because the manufacturers claim that they can do it all: weight and balance, fuel, navigation, airspace, frequencies, and more. While these instruments are helpful, it is no substitute for planning. Planning prepares the mind. It extends and develops the visualization process so that the mind can achieve a fine balance between alertness and relaxation, the optimal state in which we have to deal with emergencies. By planning a flight, one also heightens situational awareness. One can know every minute of the way where one finds oneself. If a flight has been properly conceptualized and planned, it is easy to carry out the procedure. All that remains is to connect all the dots. But flight does not always follow these rules. Flights are often delayed. Extra passengers announce themselves, or systems cause technical problems. The secret is to plan for even these unknown factors or to replan, a process which can take some time. The bottom line is never to fly without a plan under any circumstances. It is not possible to effectively communicate with other aircraft without knowing exactly where you are. Modern technology has simplified the process, but it is still good airmanship to use a map, ruler, and timepiece. Know the airspace where you are, know the frequency, and tell the air traffic service and other pilots. Remember to check that you are using the correct radio. Scientists have determined that it is more effective to scan the sky in small blocks up and down than attempting to look at the whole picture. It can be difficult to locate aircraft, even at small distances in the air. But that is the way it has been done for 100 years and will continue to be done in this way. Technology will never replace the human brain, but it has come to stay and finds a very useful place in the cockpit. Transponders tell air traffic controllers where you are. When you have a TCAS system installed, you can see other aircraft with transponders. Flight planning have been simplified with the advent of computers. Perhaps the most significant development has been the introduction of GPS into aviation. But all this comes at a price. It is a fact that electronic instruments create the illusion of pre-planning. In other words, complacency. Tuning a few dials does not have the same mental effect as the intellectual study of the route, weather, fuel, airspace, and weight and balance requirements. Technology is also a double-edged sword. It is not beyond the realms of belief that an overzealous regulator might decree that all aircraft should be equipped with expensive technology. That may well toll the final bell for general aviation. And that is exactly the reason why we must prevent a mid-air collision at all cost. AOPA is proud to announce the exciting program, CRM for the Single Pilot Crew. It consists of a book explaining the principles and practice of CRM, with specific reference to the single crew pilot as well as a DVD. We encourage all pilots to study the material. Pilots are then invited to volunteer for a check ride with an experienced AOPA-appointed pilot. The details of the flight planning and preparation required are explained in the book. It is a voluntary program and may be adapted for individual cases. Pilots who complete these check rides will receive recognition in the form of certificates and discount rates. These check rides are additional to the annual or biannual compulsory CAA check rides. The program will be launched on the 13th of April 2012 at Spear Hotel and Conference Center during the World Assembly of the International Council of AOPA. CAA endorses and supports the program and will join us on a roadshow across South Africa immediately after the World Assembly. Watch the press for details.